Fantastic.
Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Charlie Wallace. Welcome, man. How's it going?
Great. Thanks, man. Doing good.
So Charlie, you have a blog, a YouTube channel, Pastor Personality. What's that?
I do. So that is something that I did. I started in February just because something I wanted to do where I could really, for lack of a better word, just blast about something that I'm not really responsible for,
Yeah,
like
that's
a
right.
hobby kind of thing. And it just turned into something I enjoyed. And it's become one of these things where I'm trying to do it without, um, in a way where I'm not seeking tribe validation from it.
So you're doing it for yourself, essentially.
Yes. Well, I do. I'm a blaster, so I want people. I want to help people, and I'm an EJ, and I want people to be helped in some ways. I mean,
Right.
I'm a pastor, but I
Right.
want to do it in a way where I don't feel like I need to, that validation. That I'm working on that. That's what I'm trying to work on.
Gotcha. So you are an ESTJ, but what kind of ESTJ are you? Give us your exact op type and
So I'm a
sex.
double feminine,
Yeah.
feminine TE, feminine SI, masculine N, and F. So when I would take personality tests, I often would score ENTP.
So
And
can you also say your animals before you?
oh yeah, sorry. Blast, sleep, consume, play.
Gotcha. Okay. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Blast, sleep, consume, play. Yeah. And so when they got back with me on that, and they tied me pretty early on. It was April of last year, so right when they got started. And I was in a part of my life where I was kind of, looking at some. I don't know how I stumbled across it. Anyhow, it might have been when Dave redid his YouTube channel.
Right.
I was like, whoa, this guy's back.
Right.
And so I kind of went that way. That's probably how I got interested in it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm in a stage of my life where I can afford to pay this and just see what I get. Never been officially tied by any organization before, so I thought it'd be interesting. But so when it came back with ESTJ, quite honestly, there were two types I did not want to hear: ESTJ and ISTJ.
How come?
I just was like, I'll take anything but those two, because I had this idea in my head that they were like boring people, and I just this stereotype, and I knew a guy that typed ESTJ, and I knew some ISTJs in my life that typed themselves that, and I was like, God, just as long as I'm not that, I'll be fine.
Then you got it. So how did you react then?
Well, so they, because I told them I've been typed ESTP, I told them I've been typed ENTP, and even ENTJ and stuff like that, and INTP and ISTP. Those have been the common things people have said, just off the cuff. So when they told me that, it kind of, I told them I was open to it, but they're like, you have a lot of T. I'm like, that's obvious. But when they explained the masculine NE, I'm like, well, that's what's happening, because I'm identifying with that, and I know I'm T dominant and oriented. And so I think that's why on the test I would score ENTP. But then when they explained about the problems of the EP, I was like, yeah, I mean, I got a little bit of that maybe, but comparatively, no. And then when they described the problems of EJ, I was like, whoa, yeah, that's scary accurate. And so I didn't, I kind of accepted it, because I was like, yeah, that's the fact they've done so much work in it. Whatever they're tracking something consistent. So I felt like there was merit in it. And so they did say, do not go online and read the ESTJ profiles, because you won't relate to them. And I think they're right on a lot of that. Just the basic, profiles is like a Bill O'Reilly kind of guy, something like that. Like I don't really relate to that. I'm not that in your face on the front end of it. But I think, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to say it's inaccurate or whatever. I guess that's my feminine TE. But if that's the case, I've accepted it. So
What I really want to ask you, because you have an interesting ESTJ type, is that
yeah,
you have double activated FI. So even though your FI is going to be your most your demon that you're going to have the most trouble with,
that's right.
it's double activated and it's masculine. So let's talk about that. How does that help you in a way because of having that double activated and having that as masculine?
Um, so I will have certain. It affects me like this. Let's say even I've had a situation recently here at the church where I've got to make a tough call on an issue, like a moral issue or like a value, and I don't want to do it because I know people are not going to. A certain person might not like it, you know, and there's going to be negative reaction. But once it crosses that, you know, line, it's like it kind of whips. It's like the swing they talk about. It kind of whips around.
Right.
I become very stubborn about it, and I cannot budge. It's like instead of a punch, it's like a digging the heels in kind of thing.
Like it's like a really heavy anchor that, like, you know,
yes.
Now,
So yeah.
No, keep going. Sorry.
So the way I deal with that is I try to get it out. I try to let it breathe. And so it's easier for me to let it breathe because I preach sermons and I can let it out that way.
Right.
You know, where I was always offended about what if I say something? Well, no, I have a platform. I'm going to say it. And so I feel like I don't get the swings as much. And also when I'm dealing with conflict, if I go ahead and on the front end of it and go ahead and deal with it, it doesn't swing it around as much. So that's been a growth journey for me. That it's helped. It definitely helps.
Now, because you are an EJ though, growing up, did you have issues with your identity? Did you always have? Was that some like kind of your problem area that you struggled with growing up?
I think it's always been. Yeah, I think that's been an issue. I mean, I think that's what drove me into personality types is identity type stuff. Yeah.
So going to the other side of the fence, I guess, you have double feminine blast. So how's that? How does that work for you? You know, that's very interesting. Is it like not so shovey? You know, more friendly, I guess.
I think that's why I identify with like ENTP, with the ideas back and forth. You know, like the stereotypical ENTP person that you read about, like and a debater and taking this side and seeing that side and that kind of thing. I think that's how it comes out.
Would that be more from your masculine any though? Because you know.
I don't know. Yeah, you know, it's hard to type out yourself, I guess. I mean, I guess it could be. I think it is masculine NE, but then the feminine TE or the feminine blast is like. There's times where I'm preaching a sermon and I'm like debating myself before I say it.
Oh, okay. That's. It's also double feminine. So,
Yeah.
like, have you spoken to someone that has double masculine blast and kind of compared, see how it felt to talk to someone like that? And
I think I would be like that. If you know, I don't know for sure if I've come across that with people, but I imagine I imagine certain people that have that. I probably am kind of like. I probably judge them as like you're dumb, you know, kind of deal. Like think through what you're saying here, right? You know, kind of deal. I don't know how that would work, but there are certain EJs that have that, and I do not enjoy being around that
because it's too aggressive. Like you feel like it's not very friendly. It's not very pleasant.
Yeah, it's a little too aggressive, and I don't do well with that. And then the masculine FI digs its heels in, and you know, I don't do well with it. So
now you are, in a way. You have kind of the standard stack for an ESTJ, right? Like you have T,
right.
FI. So does that mean control is your go-to I guess middle function?
Routine. You know, I've never viewed myself as a routine person, but I'm very routine. Now that I see that, I mean, my closet is straight. I have short sleeve shirts lined up.
Yeah.
You know, I have long sleeve shirts lined up, pants lined up. I have a rotation, like when a shirt is dirty, I put it to the back. When it's clean, I put it to the back. And I don't, you know, I try to make, I have routines. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. Yes. After about 5 months, I'll get sick of it and I'll get something else to eat. And I'll eat that every day for about 3 or 4 months.
Right.
I see it in my life. But I think that masculine NE is such a demon. I think it's how my mind copes, because my mind is typically in the NE world a lot. And the only reason I know that is I think it's masculine. I think that's why. And so I don't think the double feminine people, I've always thought this was interesting. I don't think we see those in our lives very often. And so we don't identify with them. And so I think that's an interesting aspect. I think I've talked to several people about that before. I'm thinking constantly. I feel like I'm in the NE world constantly. So
Do you think it's because your SI is feminine, so it's not as in your face as the masculine NE?
Yeah. See, I don't think we double. Are you? What are you? Are you double feminine, double masculine? What are you?
I'm masculine feminine. I'm auditory.
Okay. So I think the double feminine people. One second. Let me see this.
No worries.
Okay. I think the double feminine types. My theory on this is they just don't see those two functions. They're not conscious of it because it's feminine, because it's movable. Then I might be wrong. But that's my theory. That's how I feel. I don't. They talk about your saviors, how you're not conscious of it. That's what a lot of people get typed upside down.
Yes.
I think those that are feminine really get typed upside down because they really are oblivious to it, I think.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You have double masculine consume. So what's that like? It's a demon though, so it's a little bit weird, right? So like
obsessive, I think. I think it's obsessive over certain issues. I used to think I had NI because I would get real obsessive with like a subject.
Right.
It's like one subject, and I've had people tell me that you're ENTJ because you get obsessed with these things,
right?
Like typology and stuff. But I do not. I mean, I'm a pastor and I have a doctorate. I do not finish books.
How far do you get?
I read about a chapter or so, and then I lose interest.
Oh my! So you get bored easily.
Bored very easily.
Have you ever finished a book though? Like
yes, of course I have to. Now, if I have to, I will. But like I'll get like a book on something, and I'll read the first chapter, and then I'll read a couple chapters that I need the information I need to get out of.
Yeah.
I don't read fiction. Definitely, I don't read fiction at all. And I'll just get the gist of it, and I'll move on.
Is it because
I joke around like The Office, and my wife, she's like, "When are you going to finish a book?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to."
Now, the thing is, you're also visual and a tester. So what's that like for you? Because is that why you don't finish books? Is because the way you prefer to learn is by seeing things and by testing things.
Yeah, I don't know. They talk about the kinesthetic tester thing. I don't see myself like that. I guess I am. The sensory aspect. I feel like how they describe sensory, like the kinesthetic thing. I played sports. I enjoyed the feeling of like tackling somebody in a football game.
Right.
I enjoyed that physical type stuff. So I don't know how that turns out. I would have thought that I was kinesthetic because like I enjoy, I have a son, he doesn't like to like wrestle. He's 12 years old. If I try to wrestle him or something, he doesn't like any of that.
Yeah.
I want to go over and tackle him and, headlock him and stuff. So that's how they describe a lot of times masculine or how they describe kinesthetics. And I have a lot of that. So it's hard for me to understand exactly what that is from my own experience.
So double feminine, I think that would be tester first, right? So that means you like to try different things, like, test, like I think someone gave me a really good example is like when they go to like a Mexican restaurant, for example, or like a restaurant, they try to eat a different sauce, see what all the different sauce tastes like. I don't know if you do something like anything similar to that.
Yeah, I don't do that. I get the same sauce.
Like ketchup or something.
Yeah, I get the same thing. If I have to try something new, it's like,
do you think your sexual modality might have been mistyped then?
It's possible. I mean, I've had people say that before too. It's possible. I've had people say you're like a third people. No one has told me I'm MM, but I've had people say I could be one of the others, so.
FM or MF?
Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah, your sensory seems to be masculine, so it's maybe are you very auditory? Like you learn very good?
No, I'm not auditory. I'm visual.
You're visual for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know that for sure. Like I struggle audiobooks.
No.
No,
that's funny. Now you do have play last, so how does that affect you? Like does it mean you don't like having back and forth conversation with people, or you don't like to joke around? You're a serious guy, or like what?
Well, that's another thing that's interesting because I've heard people say they have play second. I love joking around. Now I have 4 children and I'm tired a lot, and I wondered maybe if they typed me play last because I was just exhausted. I had a side job. I was teaching at a college and pastoring, you know? doing a lot of stuff. And I was just kind of tired. And so I've often thought maybe that's just not getting enough downtime, you know? So I've gone back and forth on that. I think they're right on the ESTJ. And I think they're right on the feminine TE and the masculine. You know, I can see that being right there. But the only part I've ever questioned is it blast sleep or blast play?
Yeah. Like, do you use your sleep a lot then? Or like, do you conserve your energy, or do you?
I do if I know I have to go out of town or take a long road trip or something like that. I will try to conserve my energy for that.
Okay. It seems for some reason you seem like you're more like consume last and like play third, if anything.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you just kind of confirmed that you don't like to finish books, you don't like to read audiobooks, but you like to joke around, you said, and you like to tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. I do it all day long.
Right. So maybe they just switch those two around because they said
Blast sleep, play consume. Yeah, that could be it.
yeah, because like in like a lot of their videos they always said that, you know, the saviors, they usually get it right, but the last two animals is where, you know, if they don't have enough information on you, they
In my own typing with people like I've done, that's those last two animals is where I've struggled the most too.
sorry.
When I've typed people and I've done some group typings with people here at the church.
Yeah.
And those last two animals is where I struggle to get honed in on.
Now, would you say you're more info dominant or energy dominant?
Info.
Info for sure. Okay, so maybe
I feel that way. Yeah.
like you won't preach something that you're not 100% sure that you unless you know you have all the information that you need.
Yeah.
You definitely respect the information. Like it's
yes. And I'm time exhausted Sundays.
What's that?
I'm exhausted on Sundays.
Okay, but if you play last, that means you have low energy in general.
That's okay. Go ahead. Give me a hold.
Sure. Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, we got to wrap up. I got the baby.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so Charlie, we're going to wrap up the interview shortly. Do you have any final message for anyone who is an ESTJ in general who wants to work on improving their identity better? You know,
final things. This is the baby.
Yeah.
Final things. ESTJ.
What have you done that to help you better?
The masculine FI has been the main deal. Just trying to let that breathe and try to do things to where, you know, I'm just not, hey bud, where I just kind of let that breathe a little bit, and to where I don't, sorry, you might have to just cut this part. I'm just kind of distracted.
It's fine. Keep going.
But letting the FI breathe and just getting it out and taking stances on issues and morals and stuff like that, and just not worrying so much about what people think about it.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks, Charlie, for doing this interview. I know it's a little bit short, but hey, we made it happen, so it's good enough.
Awesome. Great.
All right, take care, man.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.